Yeah, well, thank you very much for everyone joining us today. Pretty surprising. I mean, looking at the counter, we've already got 1,000 people plus joining this program. Now, for those guys who were with us in early days, yes, this brings back memories of us, the CTO. Do you remember the days of the initial program?
Absolutely. It's a pleasure again to meet people and share our aspects of what we've done and how we became to this level of technology and what was the journey and all that. I'm very, very happy to share all these aspects.
Now, for those guys that are new, me and Luai, we used to do a program called Ask the CTO. So it was questions about tech and basically anyone that used to join those programs. I remember at one point we had over 30,000 viewers on those programs.
100%. We were on there for a while and people built a lot of interest, but we got very busy.
Now, I'd like to thank everyone for joining. Luai, thank you very much for joining the program.
Thank you very much.
Now, guys, today is another AMA, so Ask Me Anything Day. Today, what we've done is obviously we're doing 3 days a week of AMA, but each day will be specifically about something different. Most of the questions that came through the last week has been about our history, who we are. So what we're going to do today is Luai, the CTO, has got a very extensive history in this field. So today we're actually going to direct questions at Luai. So I'll be asking the questions, Luai will be answering. Anyone has any other questions, please feel free to put those questions on our Facebook page. We will ask Luai if we have time. And again, every single week we'll go through this program and it will be technical. Now, Luai, would you like to introduce yourself for those viewers who have just joined us new?
No, absolutely. Well, thanks for everybody who's joining, and thanks again. I think there's a big interest in sharing a lot of information about who we are and what technology we have built and the actual elements that led us to reach this level of building information technology and building systems and building and integrating a lot of the latest tech in terms of what NuGenesis has become. So yes, I graduated since 1992. Actually, it's been a bit of a time. I've been a software engineer for a very long time.
So can I just stop you there? I mean, when you say you graduated, what field did you graduate in?
Oh, computer science, basically. Absolutely. At that point in time, and the funny thing, well, it's not funny really. I mean, I think a lot of people will agree with me. People who love who love programming. Actually, you can see them when they were teens and their 16s or 17s. They had passion in learning software development and all that, and I was one of them. That was an early seed in my character, where I loved the passion of writing software. And at that time, there's a lot of challenges. Not much of internet exposure. I remember at a time where I used to really search around the world for all these good books to learn more and to dig deep into computer architecture and go beyond the aspects of just the normal territory material.
So
that helped me a lot, basically.
Let me just pause you there. So what made you go into computer science?
Passion. I just loved it. I remember through I think pretty much starting with Sinclair and MSX operating systems at that point in time, and I kind of jumped on, and I was then I realized I can write a few basic programming language commands and executed them, and they gave me some results. I said, wow, that's amazing. That really sparked me, and I kind of and I was, I think at that point, 15 years old.
Now tell me,
which I started that journey basically, and I build a passion every day. Parents helped me. My father being a professor in uni, medical science and College of Agriculture as well. He spent a lot of efforts through his medical connections his academic connections actually, and brought me a lot of books, and I grew up with this passion.
Now tell me about your first project in cryptography. When was your first project in cryptography?
Amazing question. Yes, basically during my graduation period, I was able to pick up MASM, Microsoft Assembly book, read it inside out, understood a lot of aspects of assembly language deep inside. Studied further the actual architecture, the file allocation system. It was Microsoft DOS at that point in time. Windows was initially available, but not very, very sophisticated at that point in time. Anyway, so basically, when I learned all these primitive bases, I started writing a few commands in the Microsoft Assembly, and I was able to infiltrate the file allocation system, change things there, and cipher the information, and protect the floppy disks from being read by the OS.
So can we go back to what year that was?
That was 1991, 1990.
Okay, so your first, or let's just say first experience or first expertise or first project in cryptography started in 1992 or 1993?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And the project was built, it was divided into two segments. So the assembly segment in one end and the C programming language in the other end, where we were able to further cipher information and further encrypt information. And we achieved a A+ result on that project, actually.
The reason why I'm asking these, a lot of people have been asking, is what is our expertise in this field? Where do we come from, and how can NuGenesis have achieved what the rest of the world has not been able to achieve? So it's very crucial people understand the background of individuals and the teams in NuGenesis network. Luay Mohsen was at the forefront of cryptography. Yes, back in the 60s, 70s, cryptography was around, but at the forefront where it started, I mean, from the 1992 documentation that first came out, which was basically the basis of the Bitcoin protocol. Luay himself has been around for a very long time in the field. His experience is extensive, and we will go through other aspects of his field and his experience. But I would like to just, obviously I want the audience to get a bit of background about us, who we are, who each person is. So Luay leads the tech team, right? He doesn't only lead the technology team from the blockchain development side, but also from the meta side. So Luay, do you want to give us a bit more about yourself? I know that you're starting cryptography. Just tell us a bit, what other industries have you worked in? What's your expertise? What's your field?
Absolutely. Down through the track of, from graduation on to opening up my computer services immediately after uni, and also running through a program of masters in computer science as well. And from that onwards, I became basically known in the industry. I started writing utilities and softwares for a few companies around. Then migrated to Australia, started working in a lot of domains in retailing and in legal, and telco is one of my biggest domains basically, and in banking, finance. So I worked for a long time as a Oracle database administrator. That was one of my big passions as well at the time when Oracle is amazing. I have big passion and love to the products, or to that product basically. And then cloud engineering, microservices architecture and best practices, and end-to-end computer design and computer architecture, software engineering and software architecture. So this kind of build up a very, very intense level of knowledge to the extent where when I got involved with blockchain technology, I started planning basically for what blockchain is going to be used for.
May I interrupt you there? There's a really good story about the time we started this project. I mean, do you remember when we first got together?
100%.
We spoke about the blockchain and how we were going to utilize the blockchain. Do you remember what happened when we were hiring developers and what developers were telling us?
True.
So do you remember what
happened? Yeah, I remember very well.
So guys, when we started this project, it was me and Luay sat down. It was a good meeting. We were discussing how to resolve certain things that I had basically seen in my journey of my career. And we said, look, blockchain may be a possible solution. And me and Luay put a run. Remember the first blockchain? We went from the first C++ to the Ethereum chains and many chains over. But the funny thing is, when we first told people what we were going to build and we were hiring developers, do you remember I'm not too sure if you go far, you can remember far back, but do you remember exactly what happened on those days and what they used to tell us about being impossible or not?
100%, yeah. Actually, it is very, very interesting how when we got engaged with developers who had a bit of a more advanced knowledge in blockchains itself, but the discussion that was leading to blockchains only used in a certain space. And the ideas that we were coming up with, they said that's crazy, that's almost impossible, cannot be implemented.
So I remember
disagreed. I disagreed as a technical guy, basically.
I remember I remember a very fueled discussion between you and a couple of developers in the early days, where they said it was impossible, and you were saying it was. I mean, I don't know if you remember.
Absolutely. Look, I mean, it's funny if we talk about blockchain. I mean, me coming from a C++ and C, one of the actual early languages and that I used in my development career and as a software engineer or a software programmer. Linked list, everybody was dynamic allocation, and when I looked at blockchain, I said, wow, that's basically an expansion of the dynamic allocation technology, basically on a higher scale, on a bigger scale, more sophistication. the concepts of immutability and all that. And look, I mean, when I look at things, the funny thing, I look at them from a basic perspective. I know how they're built, I know how they work, and I know where they're coming from, and nothing new is really the invention of today. Everything is built on the actual fundamentals. And we grew up with the fundamentals. That's the good thing. That's the amazing thing that took me through this journey to be who I am today and to lead a team, a marvelous team in terms of leading by example and achieving all the results that we have achieved. And today, NuGenesis has been reaching this point with all the actual efforts and sleepless nights as well.
I agree on the sleepless nights. Now,
software
guys,
engineering.
what we will do is over the next few weeks, we'll explain to you guys what technology we've actually developed. The NuGenesis network is not a single blockchain, and we keep saying that. The NuGenesis network is a series of blockchains all running in parallel together.
Absolutely.
Now, we have many different frameworks, not just one framework, but many different frameworks and many different kits so people can connect to us. I do apologize, put that on silent. All right, so what we're going to go from now is, Luay, would you like to explain to the audience currently right now, what are you looking after? I mean, just the teams, where they are, you know, what teams you're looking after, what projects that you're currently right now working on.
Absolutely.
I think it'd be nice for the audience to actually get a little bit of background plus what we're currently working on.
Correct. Look, I mean, lately, as we've all known how we're going and the direction of NuGenesis, basically moving into the meta realm, and this is a technology which we have been involved in on a lot of scales, a lot of levels. It's a technology where we started forming, expanding our team capabilities and capacity, and in terms of the skill sets. So we've hired a lot of robotics and a lot of artificial intelligence software engineers and all that.
But most people, sorry to cut you off there, most people are now wondering, what has blockchain technology got to do with robotics departments?
Yes.
And artificial intelligence? I mean...
Absolutely correct. Well, I think through the previous session, we did mention that we are not a blockchain company.
Correct. That's what I want to get to.
Blockchain is intrinsically one of our main components where we use in most of our software designs, because we believe in it as a very powerful tool, powerful component in terms of ensuring information integrity, ensuring transaction integrity, and the way it's going to be correlated with the metaverse, and especially with the way we have driven. And the funny thing, that's a very good question according to blockchain technology. We've took the notch up, basically, a few notches up, basically, and we've reached levels of 100,000 transactions plus, and that gave us the actual incentive.
Just so the customers are aware, that's on one single chain.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
So we run parallel chains, so if we're running more than one chain, then obviously the transactional speed increases, doubles, triples.
100%.
So if we're running, and what would the node systems, I mean, how did you guys, or the major achievement of us is reducing the cost of running of the blockchains. All right, so with the nodes, how many nodes are current? Do you want to explain to the audience how the nodes work, what the node system is, why our blockchains are so efficient?
Absolutely. So most of our blockchain ecosystems, they're running around 5 to 8 nodes. 5 is the magic number, basically, and the reason we're only satisfied with that number of nodes in terms of reduction of costing and gaining of performance and gaining of outcomes, basically. One of the actual main drivers to utilize these number of nodes, and in our technology, in our space of blockchain, we can increase the number of nodes dynamically. Also, all the evolution that happens on the blockchain is implemented. So we've adopted a forkless concept, a forkless approach, which means we can change a lot of things in the future and evolve the blockchain with just releasing the actual changes at the blockchain level without forking it. The number of nodes, basically, because of the consensus that we selected, okay, and that was a big choice for us because we initially grew in the domain of enterprise and the domain of corporate and commercialization of blockchain. And also the funny thing, we also took into consideration, after analyzing the market, analyzing what's happening with the mass adoption, we also took into perspective that, okay, we do something for the enterprise, but we also leave a lot for the mass adoption to enjoy and benefit and come to be part of the actual blockchain ecosystem.
Correct. So guys, on that note, we'll have a full session on our consensus algorithms, on our blockchains, and on how we actually achieved what we've achieved in terms of adding things like mining, staking, in a proof of authority protocol. All right, so there's many things that we will talk about. Now, guys, we're going to open up questions. This is a short session about, ask the CTO. If you've got any questions, please throw them at us. We're just taking questions right now, so please feel free to send questions over, and we'll ask Luay Mohsen your question.
Absolutely. I'll be more than delighted and happy. If anybody can read the questions, that would be great.
Oh, well, I've got some questions already sent over.
Awesome. I think I've
got them. I'm just opening them up. How was it possible? You guys claim that you guys have reached speeds of such 100,000 plus transactions a second, when Ethereum has over 200,000 developers and over 1 million developers on books has not been able to achieve those results. I mean, it's hard for us to believe that a group was able to come out from nowhere and actually come and achieve these results, have gasless transactions, have gasless NFTs. And, with what we can see, it doesn't look like a very large team. Can you comment? Now, can I just start with saying something on that note? Guys, we aren't the new guys, right? Just because you've just heard about us, I can tell you now, we've been around even prior to Ethereum.
And sorry, I highly disagree with the word coming out from nowhere. We're not the nowhere that you said. Sorry, I think that's a wrong...
just reading the questions as they're written, but 100%. So a lot of people don't realize the NuGenesis network came from a various different networks prior. All right, it started off in early days as an ideology. It went down to M squared, went to G squared, went to NuCoin, and then it formed the NuGenesis network. Now, the NuGenesis network has been in operation, and when I say in operation, I mean even R&D from as early as 2013.
Correct.
So 2014 was the first time we established a system. The only difference is we wanted to create an enterprise solution, and we didn't want to go to market until we actually had created the enterprise solution. The first 3 to 4 years, we were not focused on technology. We were focused on realization of protocols. So we wanted to know how the real world functions. So we went out there and we looked at how real world functions. I mean, if we were to come up with a solution based on blockchain, we had to know how trade works, how business works. What's the solution? How can we resolve a financial problem or a transactional problem if we don't understand the problem itself? So it's not a matter of getting into our garage and putting together a blockchain, because in early days, we created our first blockchains as early as 2014. But I can tell you now, those are failed blockchains. I mean, we failed all the way from 2014. When I say failed, they were not good enough for what we needed
to satisfy the actual outcome.
Correct. 100%. In terms of other protocols that have come out after us, I can tell you that the blockchains we created were vastly more advanced than the ones that came out. But for our ideology, they were no good. We were in the idea of creating a processing system or a transactional system to store every transaction that happens in what we call the meta realm. All right, so I just want to make that very, very clear, guys. We are not your new guys. We've been around for a very long time. Management and the whole team is basically based out in Australia. We have actually 8 and plus global offices. At one given point, we had over 700 full-time employees. Now, I know the retention, we've dropped some of those employees, and that's due because we needed guys with very high skill sets, and we couldn't find those skill sets. Now, sorry, I will put it back to you and to take over the question from there.
No, absolutely. Look, by all means, and with all respect to the actual person who's asking, I'm more than happy to demonstrate that. Okay, but we have used techniques which is specific for us. I'm not going to reveal these techniques on how we achieve that number of transactions, but it's similar. I can just say it is parallel processing that we've implemented, and that's how we achieved those outcomes and those numbers basically.
Now, recently, you guys have now also achieved from a week ago almost 3 to 4 times our original speed on some of our chains.
Correct.
So in terms of speed, guys, you can jump on and try. Look, the network that we are in discussion about is live, right? Yes, there's front-end issues. We're not denying it. Yes, there's a lot of improvements to go on our front end. We've been working consistently on the back end, right? So we've been working on the programming and everything else that comes with it from the back end aspect. What we have failed to do is actually finish the front end and make it more user-friendly. That is what we're currently doing as we speak. All right, but in terms of our back end, our treasury systems, I mean, one day I'll get Luay to actually show you guys the treasury systems. There's many companies that have derived it as a governance or, as promised the world, they're going to be delivering some governance system or some treasury system. We aren't promising you guys anything. Our systems are fully built. We have nothing to promise. We have nothing at all to tell you we're going to build. even our DNCs, even our digital notarized contracts are basically resolved.
100%, absolutely. And
so,
that's a big project on its own means.
Basically. So, and again, on that question, guys, we're not the new guys. We've actually been, Luai is a pioneer in this industry, 1992. So 1992, before most people were even born, Luai was doing cryptography. Okay, so you've just got to know the background of the team. Now, Luai also runs vast amounts of teams, from our meta teams to our blockchain development teams to our AI teams and our robotic division. We're actually currently expanding and looking for over 100 robotics and AI developers to join our team. So the actual team is not as small as you believe it is. The only reason why you haven't heard of us in the early days is we, as a company, decided we will build it, we will test it, we will launch it. All right, that's what we decided to do. We didn't want to have any pre-sales. We didn't have any pre-ICO. We didn't have any pre-sales on any single substance that we had. 100%. We wanted to deliver a product, and that's the promise we gave the world, and that's what we did. We delivered the product, and right now we are improving the front end, but we have delivered the product we promised. So would you like to add anything else before?
No.
I don't know if we've got any more time, guys. How
if there's any more time for questions, I'm happy to take any more questions.
Okay, I think let's just take one more question. We have questions. All right, do you want to give us the question? All right, let's go. Now, guys, we are going to be doing this pretty often, so don't worry if we've missed your question, we'll take it. We are taking most of the questions, and most of the questions are very similar. So what we've done is we're creating questions from questions you guys have sent. Now, we're creating questions that can answer, 10 or 20 questions that come through, but just asking that one question to give you guys all the same answer. But if anyone needs any more information, we're always happy to answer it. Okay, so we've got another question. As you guys suggested, it took 10 years in research. So how come other ecosystems were able to do their product launch in laser time and have been quite successful? What is major difference in NuGenesis ecosystem and other ecosystems like Solana, Cardano, Polygon, who has faster transaction speed and low gas fees? Guys, we've actually built a whole ecosystem. You really need to go and do a bit of research about the companies you're telling us about. We are crypto fans. We're not going to sit here and bag out any other company. Me and Luai, enthusiasts in crypto. We love the crypto space, but they don't have anything that we have. They are nowhere next to what we developed. Yeah, right, I'm putting this live.
There's a few entities in the market which are using public blockchain, so the infrastructure is ready. They use layer 2,
but it's not.
They can launch earlier. They can get into the market earlier. Correct. It doesn't mean that their technology is advanced.
There's a vast difference. Yep. You're trying to compare us to ecosystems that came out. None of them have parallel processing. None of them have artificial intelligence. None of them have any capacity that we have. We've designed over 128 pegging systems, 128 individual blockchains. We've designed Bitcoin Green, Bitcoin U. We've designed Ethereum blockchains, which are more advanced than the Ethereum chains that are currently out. The issue is they weren't good enough for us. All right, we are not a blockchain company. We're a company trying to create what we call the ledgering system for the meta realm. We need extensive transactional speeds. Now, yes, there's some brilliant ones out there. I mean, if you ask me, Substrate is one of the best frameworks, and that's why we've also integrated Substrate within our network. Correct. So, Substrate, if you tell me about Substrate, I'll tell you, yes, it's absolutely brilliant. Right, I've never seen any coding like it. The coding is incredible. It's fantastic. But when we come to other blockchains that you guys mention, I can guarantee you guys they're nowhere in the same position. Yes, they're in the market quicker. Yes, they're being exchanged on exchanges. But if you're talking about technology, there is no comparing the two technologies. And what we'll do is we'll explain the technology difference in later shows. But very, very different. And also, it didn't take 10 years to create this chain. We've been 10 years creating chains. Right, and it's not only chains. What we did initially is we went out there to actually see what was required. We went and looked at remittance systems. We worked in the fields. We went and spoke to governments. We actually flew across nations. I mean, if you just jump on any of our Facebook pages, we can share some photos. We've sat down with many vast companies, all from we've got, I think, about 6 or 7 from the Fortune 500 companies. We also look at and have strategic partnerships with over 168 global companies. Right, and the 168 global companies are not your average Joe companies. So we've got strategic partnerships with many of the Fortune 500 companies. We also have All right, guys, I do apologise for that little distraction, and we do apologise. Now we'll go back to what we're saying, and we're back on the question about the other systems. And I'll reiterate, we are very, very different to our systems. We are not a blockchain. In essence, we are parallel processing blockchains. We have vastly more advanced technology, and really there is no comparing the two technologies. Now, I don't know if you guys heard it because it cut out, but I was speaking about Substrate, one of the best frameworks I've ever come across. So when we talk about, we like to, look, we are blockchain enthusiasts. We love the blockchain. We love blockchains in general and what they can actually do and the ledgering systems that come with it. But what we've developed and what currently is on the market, there's a vast difference. Again, we don't like bagging out other companies. It's not in our position to actually talk badly about anybody. We will talk about technology and explain the technology, but that will be on a later date.
Absolutely.
Now, I hope that before it cut out, you guys heard what we said, but if not, we'll listen to the recording, and if it's cut out during very important messages, we will repeat it on our next show.
Absolutely.
Now, we've got another one. Can you please emphasize on the transaction speed in comparison to other smart application and gas fees? All right, guys, our transactional speeds are not second to anyone. We're currently doing on one single chain over 100,000 transactions a second. On the smallest chains with the lowest, I mean, when I say with the lowest node system that we currently use, we're able to get transactional speeds of probably 50 or 60,000 transactions a second. We do use different type of blockchains, and now, guys, we are parallel processing chains. We are not one blockchain. So if you go on any of our networks, they're not one blockchain. We use a single blockchain for a single purpose. So we have the coin chain, which all it does is create the NuGenesis coin, which is NuCoin. We have the NFT chain. We have another smart contract chain. We have, or two versions of smart contract chain. It's not one.
Which is a, multi, which is a multi-chain basically.
Yeah, we also have DNC chain. We have a DNT chain. We have a Bitcoin chain. We have an Ethereum chain. Right, we're not. You've got to understand, we are not a blockchain. All right, we're a system. We're an ecosystem. We're about to deploy one of the largest projects to ever hit the market. Right, it's got over 50 celebrities. It's one of the largest projects we've ever worked on. We're currently deploying it, and I can guarantee you, nobody could do what we do with a deployment of less than 1 week. All right, so it's not just about the change. It's the expertise that we gained in the years.
Absolutely.
Were we ready 3 years ago? Yes, we were. The problem is 3 years ago, legislation was coming out with KYC and AML, and we want to be at the forefront of everything. So we didn't deploy because what we wanted to do is achieve a flawless system that meets all security issues. Right.
Sorry, there's one very important aspect, and this is really for our audiences. We took the initiative of going ethically into the market from what we've seen on the premise of white papers raising $30 million and then disappearing, and technologies that were on the white papers which got good investor money and they could not deliver. With all due respect, I'm not undermining anybody or belittling anybody, with all due respect, but our ethics basically is that once we have the technology ready, then we talk about it, we put it on the white paper, etc., etc. So that's basically why we took our time, and we're very honestly, because we've seen a lot of unethical movements which cause a lot of people big losses in terms of and then, as you said, then the regulations, and we all know over the last 1 year and a half, 2 years basically, a big wave of legislations coming from the super countries, superpowers, and they have all rights to put these legislations in place to actually regulate this industry. It's a new industry, and it 100% does need regulations. And we've been building our technology on the premise of regulations and KYC, AML, CTF. It's core for us. I also come from a domain of AML, CTF as well, in addition to my software engineering domain. So hence, I hope this. With all respect, I hope this answers the actual question in place on this matter.
Now, guys, what we plan on doing is Luai loves teaching people about blockchain. So very soon, I don't know when, maybe in 1 or 2 months, I just cannot tell you when, we will be doing sessions on blockchain technology. We'll be teaching you guys about core blockchain technology. Everything we developed in our chains went against every protocol we were told was possible. So every single person we hired in early days told us it was not possible. A lot of the teachings out there in the space of the blockchain world is outdated. So one of the things we will be doing is actually running sessions and training campuses. And,
absolutely.
And these will be free services for anyone that's interested. Now, I'm just going to take one last question, and it isn't really related to this program, but I will ask it because most people are answer this question. Is it possible that one of the 6 exchanges mentioned will list NuCoin this month, February? Now, guys, we're not promising anything. Let me just be very, very clear. All right, we are expecting to be on a couple of exchanges. The issue that we have is we once promised, we didn't deliver. Right, we promised, and unfortunately, it was not from our side.
It's not our delivery.
It was not. It was their delivery
Yep.
that they didn't deliver.
Which they couldn't meet.
We don't want to disappoint our users. But what I can tell you is we are working very heavily with many exchanges to be listed. But we do have a listing strategy, right? So it's not about jumping on as many exchanges as possible as fast as possible.
Yep.
All right, that
Absolutely
isn't the
correct.
NuGenesis way, right? We aren't just trying to randomly jump on as many exchanges, because I can tell you now, we've been offered at least, and I don't write the name, over a dozen exchanges have come up to us to list on their exchanges. Right, we have not proceeded with those exchanges. So it's not a number of games. It's not about how fast we can jump on an exchange. It's not about how fast we can move. It's about a strategy us as the team as NuGenesis have. We have a specific way of release, and obviously, you know, we worked on these strategies, and unfortunately, one of the exchanges which promised to deliver, us being up on an exchange last month, didn't deliver. Now,
and also there's about 101 ways where each exchange has their own regime, technology regime,
Correct.
or interfacing regime on how they can interact and interface with different blockchain networks.
but the truth of the matter is, we are hoping, and I use the word hoping, that before February is over, we will be on more than one exchange. Right, strategically chosen exchanges will be on more than one, but it's no guarantee.
Absolutely.
So please don't take
Looking
this as a
forward.
promise. I am not promising it. I'm just saying we are expecting it. And hopefully, look, we know everyone is very keen and people want to buy NuCoin. And again, we haven't done any pre-sales. We haven't done any pre-ICO. But our miners, our stakers, we've got plenty of people currently on the system. We will be there soon. Right? We will be there soon. It's just a matter of days and weeks. It's not further. We will keep you guys posted. But the deal with the NuGenesis team right now is we will let you know when it's done, not prior. We will not be announcing it's going to happen. We will be announcing it has happened. Okay, so I need you guys to have some faith in us. And I know many people don't know us very well. For those that do know us, you know, well enough to know that, you know, we are trying our best. We've never given up on anything we've promised on. We never will give up. We will get to where we aim to get. Although we will not announce it. We will let you know the day it happens.
Well done.
All right.
Thank you very much. Yep,
Guys,
absolutely.
thank you very much. Look, I've actually missed these. I mean, a couple of years ago, we used to do this
we
program, Free for All.
enjoy these, absolutely.
I'm hoping that you guys have enjoyed this session. It has been half an hour. We are going to cut it at a 30-minute interval. We thank every single person for joining the program. We'll be running this next week again, same day, same time. So feel free if you've got any questions for Luai. Now, we put a lot of statements out there about being the best. Guys, challenge us, right? It's a challenge out there. If you think we're not the best, challenge us. Ask us the question. Ask us whatever you like. If we can't prove it to you, we're going to give you 10,000 NuCoin. Right? We can't prove it to you.
We'll
You're
go
going to
back,
get
and we'll
10,000
go back to the
NuCoin.
drawing board.
All right,
so we never give up.
We're that confident that it's impossible to find a system that runs better than our system. It's impossible to find a system that runs more efficient than our system. And it's impossible to find a system which is designed in the way our system has been designed. Now, there's a lot of...
I would say everybody is unique.
Everyone is unique.
And with all respect. And we learned from others. And we helped others as well in other blockchain industries. Well, very frankly, we never kept things for us. Anybody who has approached us, we have supported people working in big corporations in the blockchain industry. And we also got good advice from others. So
Correct.
very, very frankly, and we're all basically a family in this space, basically. Yeah, so everybody has a unique way.
Now, just on that note, we are onboarding a lot of large projects. Right, a lot of the large projects you hear about, from the Hollywood MMC coin to the Meta Arts Realm coin, right, to a various amount of large projects. NuGenesis network was the only network able to produce the technology required for these platforms. Now, you will hear from them yourselves in the upcoming months. Right, these are partners of ours, which we've developed the technology for. Most of these partners have asked and gone around the globe looking for the best technology. They've done deals prior, they've done research prior, and the only ones that can deliver in the essence of what we're discussing is the NuGenesis network. Now,
Absolutely.
there is other networks. Let me just be very clear. We've been introduced to a lot of blockchains, which none of you guys know about, or some have just barely heard about. The unfortunate thing is the really good chains that have been developed and the protocols don't seem to make it to mainstream. We're going to be speaking about the journey and how hard it was, and really the commercialization of the NuGenesis network, the getting listing on the exchange, the expenses of advertising to get just basic advertising out there once you first come in. This is a very hard industry. It's one of the hardest industries we've ever seen. And during our journey, we actually created protocols to make this easier. So that's why you'll realize we've actually bought new sites. It's why you realize we've actually got so much social media sites. Now, they're not under the NuGenesis name, right? They're there to help people who come forward, who've got great projects. We're also able to resolve the problem of people on the Ethereum chain who've actually deployed their chain or got the ERC20 tokens and now can no longer finish their project because their obviously liquidity is depleted. We're able to reissue. We're able to actually bring liquidity over and reissue new coins on our chains for any single person. We've actually got a multi-coin palette. So, you guys speak about ERC20, be it the Binance Smart Chain. We've got the NST chain, the NuGenesis Smart Token chain. Now, the NuGenesis Smart Chain is able to produce layer one coins, multi-coin palettes. It's also able to produce an NST, a NuGenesis Smart Token. So a lot of this technology that you guys hear about, we have, right? We have it in various different ways, but we have layer one protocols. We also have layer two protocols. It's not a matter of do we only have layer one. We are looking to process vast amounts.
It's an ecosystem.
Correct.
I mean,
correct.
you do need layer two at some points and some parts of the implementation, no doubt.
Correct. Now, one of the partners currently working with us for Layer 2 solutions is a good friend of Luay's, and I'll let Luay just say a little bit about them and what we're doing with them before we close up, and we'll just end it there.
Absolutely. Well, basically, one of the partners, they're working on because sometimes we do need extra capacity and extra hands. We're calling it the NuGenesis Wallet Hub, and apparently that implementation, and also we're going to have an extension for Chrome and Firefox as well, which allows basically similar implementation of MetaMask, same concept, but on a different level. So it allows people coming from different blockchain networks to interface easily, seamlessly with the NuGenesis network, and specifically our NFT platform as well.
Now, on that, guys, thank you very much. Stay tuned for our next program. And we look forward to hearing from you guys next week.
It's been a great pleasure.
We do have another program on Sundays. Sunday night, we haven't actually decided. Look, these are being decided to be done because many people had questions and we hadn't answered them. So every single week, we will come up with a program. These aren't pre-rehearsed in any way possible. Luay will tell you we're that busy. Really, it's literally running off our computer to the stage here.
Frankly, I walk through the door and come sit down here. I don't know what the questions are. And I really don't care, with all respect, because when I answer something, I answer it from a level of experience, a level of pragmatically and practice and all that. So ask any question.
All right, on that now, thank you very much, guys. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you for everyone for joining.
Thank you very much, Huss. It's been a great pleasure, and thanks to all the wonderful audiences, and we look forward to meet you again. Thank you very much.